Oh, okay. Coolio. I assume there's just no audio right now. There we go. Coolio, right. Hello, everyone. Alright, cool. I will do. Yeah, hello, everyone. Welcome back to another match of the round of 32 for the 5 UK C2. Right, today we have Vampella versus Ideal Nettles. It is, I actually don't remember the seeds. Hold on, let me pull up the main sheet real quick so I can see. Right, yes, okay, we have the Seed 1 player, Vampella, versus the Seed... Give me a minute, I can't read numbers right now. Why can't I... Why am I struggling to read names? It's the Seed 15 versus 18, wait, what? Am I that... Oh, yeah, because I'm not looking at qualifier results, that's why. Alright, yeah, so sorry about that. I'm sorry, that's my confusion. I'm reading the wrong tab. Vampella is not Seed 1, it's Seed 15. I couldn't find the right spot. So yeah, it's Seed 15 versus Seed 18. That is my apologies for messing that up. But the highest rank at Silence, yeah, that's where I've misread it. Thank you, DJ. Yeah, so yeah, I'm interested to see how this match goes. This is the closest seeded match then that we've had, I believe, as far as I'm aware anyway. So compared to the other matches where it's been quite a big difference in the qualifying results, these two players are actually the closest I think we've seen. Where they are literally just a few spaces from each other, like one good score apart from each other in their qualifier results. So this could generally be one of the most tense matches we've had yet. I'm intrigued to see what kind of bans these players come out with. If they haven't banned already, actually, is probably the better question to ask. You know what? For today alone, Vampella is now Seed 1 in my head. Even if they're Seed 15, because of my mistake, we've now mentioned it. Don't mention Nettles' name. Get a commentator cast to them. If I mention one person's name, I'll mention the other in quick succession, so then at least if I do commentator cast someone, it goes both ways. Because apparently, for some reason, not only is the commentator cast always a true thing, I find that I'm somehow worse with it. Every time I've commentated a match and I've said someone's name, they have broken within the next 5 seconds. So to make it fair, I'll play both. I'll play both sides evenly. And if I cast someone so badly that it chokes them the round, I personally will write them a formal apology letter. I have done it once before and I'll do it again. Yeah, I'm very interested to see how this match will actually go. I'm wondering what picks these players want to take. I'm wondering what their bans will be. But all of that we'll find out very, very soon. Oh, I believe that is a No Mod 4 pick. I wonder who picked it. Unless that's just from autoplay. I'm quite intrigued. Okay. Alright, we're doing a quick tournament client reset. Do we not have chat? We're solving that as we speak. We are fixing that right now. Oh, there we go. And both players are actually in map as well. Okay. Alright, let's see how this goes. The round of 32 match, Vampella versus Ideal Nettles, has started, and Vampella actually finds a very unfortunate, very early break going into the first kickoff of the map, where the sliders and bursts really start to just kick off. And Vampella seems to be finding some very unfortunate misses really early in. Maybe the nerves against them, maybe, you know, just wasn't enough practice. But they do really seem to be finding an unfortunate amount of struggle on this intro. And that's just not going to be looking good further into this map, because this map's, you know, relatively difficult in its consistency. It's got some more challenging parts, it's got some easier parts here and there. But the main easier parts of the map are already done and dusted. It's with 440 combo into the map. And that score lead is a solid 100,000 for Ideal Nettles at the 500 combo. Vampella catching up with that 250, and the accuracy difference between these players is sitting about 2%. But Vampella is just finding so many unfortunate misses on this map. It just, you know, isn't really able to find that footing early in. And that scoreline is now 145k and building further, as Ideal Nettles seems to just keep comboing further as we go into the slow section, getting ready for the map to start kicking back off at 750 combo now, almost. And Vampella is now starting to build that combo again, getting back up there, but there's not that much map left. There's about 400 combo remaining. I don't think this scoreline is all that recoverable. I mean, it's 250k difference in favor of Ideal Nettles. I mean, there's an act drop there and a miss there, which is so unfortunate, but with this far into the map, I don't know if it's going to cause a major problem. I mean, Vampella's going to start building combo now, say about 350, but is there even enough time for Vampella to bring it back? That score lead is still just over 200k. And I don't think there's enough combo for Vampella to bring this back in time, so I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first point, going straight to Ideal Nettles. But there's a small bit map left, you know, maybe there's enough time to bring that 100k difference, especially with the miss coming out from Ideal Nettles. And 600 combo from Vampella, but with that being the map, there's just not enough time to close 130k score difference, and Ideal Nettles takes the first point. I can hear my own voice, what the hell? Well. Okay, and I think I can hear my own voice through your screen share. Yeah, breakpoint 2 apparently. Jesus, that's a very good way to start the match. I mean, having, you know, the early favor with it being breakpoint for Ideal Nettles is a situation you'd really want to be in. And we're going into the DT3. AR 9.7, so it's within, you know, your comfortable reading range. It is 260 and quite a decent, you know, quite a decent bit of mechanics included in this map. But it's also a short map, so you're not really too worried on your stamina abilities. And it's about, you know, just under 6 stars, so once again, it should be within the comfortable zone for a lot of these players. Early prediction, Nettles is not FCing this. Okay. Alright, let's get ready on this DT3. It seems Ideal Nettles has decided to not load in for this map. You know, maybe just wanting to sit one out. Fair enough. Okay, there we go. Had a quick panic moment on the client, and now both players are in. 150 combo to both players. 92 and 94% accuracy respectively. You know, about 200 combo win, so, you know, accuracy hasn't started any major problems just yet. But, you know, that could start spiraling further and further as these players continue to go further in this map. 270 combo, you know, not too worried about this part, you know, relatively comfortable section, you know, just a small bit of triangular jumps, a small triple here and there with sliders afterwards. But the map does kind of kick off, and Nettles, what is that miss? I think that's a double tap causing the second note just to be an unfortunate miss there, which means Vampella is going to start building that combo lead just slowly. But that's a 20k score difference early in. That's such an unfortunate miss for Ideal Nettles, but Vampella just traded it out! So that score lead is literally just about 20k switched over, and Vampella's finding another unfortunate miss, which means that score lead now going in favour of Ideal Nettles. They are really just going back and forth on this map, genuinely back and forth, but another miss coming out from Ideal Nettles. So it's just going to be seeing who can get a bit more of that combo game on that smaller section. And right now it's Vampella leading by about 30-40 combo, but the accuracy is very much in favor of Nettles here as they continue to go through this map. And it's a very short map. All of these misses are going to be important, and you can tell because they're already at 400k score reach, and the scoreline is so close. It's just a few thousand, and it might even switch over in the ending, but Vampella finds an unfortunate miss, meaning it's going to stay in the favor of Ideal Nettles. Just barely at the end of the map, that scoreline was less than 1,000. But Vampella found such an unfortunate miss at the ending, which means it is a second point to Ideal Nettles, taking a break point for the first point and their own point for the second. And as they're going to be leading the match now, you know, playing with a bit of momentum. And even though it is Vampella's pick, that confidence might be shaken a bit. I mean, sure, the seed difference isn't that big of a difference, but you are the higher seed player. You're, you know, the player that's expected maybe get a small bit more out there. But having 2 points lost so early in, it's really going to be a confidence breaker if you're not careful. And, you know, if you don't have that tournament experience, maybe it's going to affect you a bit more. But if you have tournament experience, you know, you'll probably know that these are how sometimes matches will go, and your confidence doesn't shake. But we're going into this No Mod 3. I'd argue this is quite an iconic No Mod 3. I've seen this quite a few times in tournament map balls. You know, it's May Karuza. I can't pronounce her, my apologies. It's 300 BPM, which sounds scary, but it's an alt map, so it's realistically about 150 BPM if we're being real. And it's quite a long map, actually. 3 minutes 30, I believe, actually, is one of the longer maps in the pool. In fact, if we're not counting Tiebreaker, this is the longest map in the pool. Now, this is a map that, you know, a lot of people might know. They might have played it a few times, because it's a good map, and oh, Nettles, that's a really unfortunate set of chain misses you don't want to have early in. But this map's long enough, there's more than enough consistency in this map that you could maybe start to fix your combo on, but it doesn't seem to be going well for Nettles right now. But Vampella, you know, seeing about 200 combo, very nice 99% accuracy that they're going to start building that score lead with. And, I mean, we're early into the map, you know, anything can really flip over. There's so much combo in this map that's available to both of these players. But that intro is going to be in favor of Vampella right now, as Ideal Nettles is now going to start catching up on that combo. About 140 behind. Not an ideal situation to be in if you're Nettles, but, I mean, there's more than enough map left, as I keep saying. So just, you know, maybe pray that Vampella finds a miss some point later. But both these players are just going to start holding off their life. I mean, it's Vampella's pick. They're hoping to finally, you know, get the point on the board for themselves. And, you know, finally break that, you know, snowball momentum that Nettles might be building at this point. But both these players are going to be seeming to be getting a lot more confident on these patterns. You know, there's a bit more of these flow alternating patterns really aren't going to be causing any problems to these players, and their finger control is looking expertise. You know, it's looking, I don't know what the word is in that context, but there's expertise coming from these players. There we go, that works close enough. Both of them sitting at that 98% acc range, about 0.2% away from each other. And they're both building phenomenal combos to the point where one player breaks and this score lead will just fly the other way immediately, which means both these players are going to have to holding on to this combo for dear life, and neither of them break on the vertical linear pattern. Getting through the break, they've seen each other score, they've seen that 50k score difference. Those nerves might start kicking into play for Vampella as they know they are in the lead, but only as they hold this combo. A break will be the end if they're not careful. But that goes for Nettles as well. Nettles is on the attack with this combo. They have to be. Because if they break themselves, there's just no way for them to recover. Not when they're already in the deficit at this point. But Vampella just is going to keep holding on. They're holding on for dear life with this full combo. They need to keep holding it. And that accuracy, I mean, they've dropped a small bit there. Almost identical accuracy with Ideal Nettles now. But that combo has to keep building. And it just gets more and more tense. Those nerves will start kicking in very, very soon as we're getting about halfway to the map. 500k for Vampella, 450 for Ideal Nettles, and there's just a bit more map left. I mean, there's about a third to half of the map remaining, which gives it a lot more time for either player to find an unfortunate break. But they're both holding on, but Ideal Nettles does find that miss, which is so unfortunate because Vampella's just comboing further, and that score lead now over 100,000. Starting to go to about 160,000 as Vampella crosses that 700k mark, and we're coming towards the end of the map, which means I believe Vampella is, you know, starting to get that confidence back in check, starting to pick into maps that really do work in their favor, and it's being shown on this No Mod 3 as they are ripping through it. Accuracy is at a good old high of 98.65%. The combo only now finding a break, FCing over 3/4 of the map. And I mean, sure, we're not seeing a full combo, which is unfortunate, but there's no time for Nettles to close that score lead. And I believe that is the end of this No Mod 3, making the first point on the board for Vampella with a phenomenal score of 878,000. And I just gotta say, it's being one slider break is so unfortunate. That's a phenomenal score to bring out, especially now that, you know, you've seen your opponent start building momentum, and if you wanted to break it, that's the way to do it. And it seems we're going into that No Mod 2. Do we know the bans? I'm not entirely sure. I'm personally not aware of the bans. I don't see them because I don't think the graphic tells us, as far as I'm aware. And apparently Tiebreaker's already been picked, which is kind of funny to me. Didn't know we were picking Tiebreaker yet. But we are seeing a No Mod 2 come out from Ideal Nettles, which is going to be a very interesting map to see. Tiebreaker pick, yup. GG. Alright, the good luck's coming out from both players. And I believe we're going to get into this No Mod 2. 5.87 star map. It is 2 minutes 23, so it's, you know, it's on that length where it's, you know, enough time to build a good combo, enough time to have an unfortunate break but still make a comeback. You know, it's sitting at about 1,300 combo, but most importantly, it's about 188 BPM. I know it says about 187.61, but you can play it at 188 and it'll be more than okay. So we're looking at kind of a shorter and more simple sidetrack day if you really want to look at it like that. And Vampella finds a very unfortunate miss on that section. A bit more of a reading and aim section, which is what catches them out. And that early accuracy bonus and combo is going to go in favor of Ideal Nettles, about 96%, as Vampella's going to start catching back up. But I think that mechanical confidence for both these players is a bit on the weaker end than expected if you want to pick into an AO 2, but currently for Ideal Nettles, it seems to be working out fine in their favor as that actually starts to build back up. Maybe I was wrong about the mechanical, you know, weakness, as that combo seems to just keep building and building, but Vampella does find another unfortunate miss and another one to mix in. That score lead is already 100,000 difference early in, and Vampella is shaking so much. You don't have to worry, Vampella. You can calm down. You've got so many points to worry about. And this No Mod 2, even if you lose it, you're not backed into a corner just yet. You've got nothing to worry about, so just play with confidence. And, I mean, we're seeing that from Ideal Nettles. They're playing with that confidence. I mean, sure, there's a shake here and there because those nerves might be at an all-time high for Nettles. You know, they're holding on to that combo. They're holding on to reasonable enough accuracy. And, you know, they've not seen that scoreboard fully yet, so they might think they're playing to tooth and nail. But honestly, at this point, Nettles, you haven't got to worry about anything, because Vampella finds another unfortunate slider break on the long slider, which is something you don't want to see. I'm so sorry for Vampella fans out there, because this one is just not going to go well in their favor. Just finding so many struggles on these bursts as we get into a more intense section. Eyes on Nettles at this point as they hold on to this combo going towards the ending with the last few hundred combo. Could we get an FC on the board for Nettles here? Because Vampella finds another unfortunate break. The nerves, the mechanical ability, and just the stress is really at an all-time high for them. But Nettles is just holding on. That accuracy sitting about 96%. They're playing confidently. They're playing without trouble. And there's 100 combo on the board remaining, so it's up to them if they want to hold on just to get that FC to end the match. But they find an unfortunate break on the burst. Also, not to end the match, to end the map, sorry. It's a little bit twisted words there from me. But they do find an unfortunate break right at the end to close the score of 794,000. That's quite impressive for a No Mod 2. I mean, that map, I mean, sure, there were some quite easy sections, you know, to litter in the middle, but there were so many tense problems in there as well. And that makes it 3-1 in favor of Ideal Nettles. Vampella's pick now, so they could maybe play into something they just played into a few moments ago. Maybe try and pick into something like No Mod 3 again. And they kind of do. They're picking into that Hard Rock 2. Going to that precision map, a small bit of ult capabilities. It's the lowest BPM map in the pool, I believe. And I wouldn't be too worried about that because even though it is lowest BPM, I think... Wait, is it? Hold on, I'm being crazy, aren't I? I am being crazy. It's not the lowest BPM map in the pool. I'm so sorry. It's Hard Rock 1. I am being a bit of a moron. This map is a bit more on that ult-focused playstyle. Again, 168 BPM, some cool ult patterns, but it's precision at the end of the day. So those nerfs at Vampella that we've just seen from them might come into having a bit of a problem because, you know, if you start shaking on a CS this small, you're just going to find so many more misses than you would say if it was a CS5 or CS4 map, which is what you'd be expecting. Let's get into this Hard Rock 2, however. Alright, as the map now does start, the first 30 combo relatively free. And that score lead sitting about 5 to 10,000, which isn't too big of a problem, not so early in. I mean, it's literally just an accuracy difference right now. As both these players, you know, just finding their free combo on this map, but this map does start to kick off very soon, where it gets a bit more intense on that aim and tapping. And these jumps are really going to be critical. And that slider break comes out from idealnettles, which is super unfortunate, just a small over-aim. But that's something that's just going to happen on CS 6.5. That's such a small circle size that it's just really hard to get the aim right. And it's another miss coming out from idealnettles as well. And Vampella, I mean, they're holding on comfortably. They've got 95% accuracy. They're sitting at 300 combo. They've got nothing to worry about right now because Nettles can't build that combo to try and play aggressive. So it's just not going to work out for them right now. That score lead is already at 230,000. The shortness of this map really coming into favor of Vampella because those nerves aren't going to have time to build up terrifyingly. The triangle's not catching out any of these players, but the sliders do catch out Nettles, which means that support and combo is just not going to have any time to build, especially now that we're practically at the end of the map. 700,000 to Vampella, 250 to idealnettles. That is just such a dominant scoreline for Vampella. Generally just a one-sided map on this precision. And coming in with an FC from Vampella, 975,000. I'm very impressed with that score. That's a great score to come out with. A perfect combo. And that's a good way to get your second point on the board. There is a 1 point difference between both these players, 3-2 in favor of idealnettles, and it is Nettles' pick again. Also, the maps that it says that are picked, I wouldn't worry about them too much. We haven't actually fixed it from the last match. For example, that Hidden 2 hasn't been picked this match, but was picked in the last match, so that's where it's saying it's picked. And it seems we're going to go into that Hidden 1. We're going into whale watching. It is the Hidden 1 of the pool, about 180 BPM, and a relatively calm map with some quite intriguing reading sections with some bursts and slider mixes, some general aim, and we're saying about that 5.6 star rating map. It's a comfortable AR for these players, about AR 9.3, so if you play Hidden, you shouldn't find too much of a problem on this AR. And it's CS3, so you don't have to worry about the aim all too much, and that's going to be a heaven-sent CS because of some of the patterns later in the map. And that's an act drop from both these players very early in, sitting about 80 each, respectively, which is a small bit terrifying, but both these players now seem to be finding their hold on the map and, getting their reading back into check with their accuracy combined. But early in, just because of the amount of 50s that idealnettles got, they're sitting about 15k below Vampella right now, with that accuracy lead of about 3 or 4%.
So let's pause for a second, feel the motion in the breeze, 'cause I see you moving, and I'm still like a statue.
There is emotion in this for sure, because these two players are neck and neck in their scoring combo. Is there a rank range for this tournament? It is a 5-digit tournament.
You
Yeah, these players are so close in their skill levels on this map right now. Both of them sitting about, you know, well, 94 and 98% accuracy. That accuracy difference is still major, but they're both holding on to that combo. And Vampella, you know, actually now is closing on that 98% accuracy, which is very good for this, like, you know, a hidden play right now. And that score lead's seeing about 30k difference. The more aim control section hasn't seemed to be claiming any player, but the bursts are going to start kicking off now with the burst and sliders, but the first two bursts don't really catch either player, and they're both sitting on a 520 combo each. And the accuracy is recovering for both of these players, but the 1/3 does drop accuracy a small bit for Nettles, but they're holding on to the combo, which is super important right now, because any break from either player is really going to be unfortunate, because we're getting towards that halfway point of the map. Getting towards the streams. Vampella drops a small bit of accuracy, but the combo is still holding on. And that's a lot more of an act drop from Vampella. That mechanical confidence really showing off for Ideal Nettles, because Vampella finds a miss in the middle of the stream, which leads that score lead immediately over in favor of Nettles as we get into the longer sliders, and the slow slider doesn't catch anyone out. And now the map kind of kicks back off again, getting to the more jumps and to sliders. Because we're getting to the build-up before the bursts into the stream into sliders, I believe. Just after the same section. Yeah, the combo is just building for Nettles, and they've built their accuracy back up to 97. They're matching Vampella pretty much now. Which, it didn't seem like that was going to be the case at the start, but that stream really did mess up Vampella a bit ago. Oh, I was wrong about the burst and slide. That was early in the map. I'm so sorry. I was kind of wrong on that. But it seems that's an FC coming out from Ideal Nettles, which is, and also another phenomenal score. 989,000 on that hidden. I believe that's our highest hidden one yet. Yeah, perfect combo. I don't think we've had that on a hidden one yet. That's a phenomenal score from Nettles. And now they're at match point, putting Vampella, you know, kind of backed up into a corner, as they, you know, they have to fight for every pick now if they want to bring this to tiebreaker. And it is their picks. They could start that now with a good map pick. And I believe that's No Mod 1 coming out from Vampella. Going into the raw aim map with a bit of a higher BPM than you'd expect from a No Mod 1, sitting at 221 BPM. It's 5.8 stars, but it's also on the higher star rating of the map pool. There are some maps that are higher than it, but on average, this is kind of above it, where the average has been about 5.65 for this tournament. It's a 3-minute map, so that consistency is really going to come into play. And yeah, if you're not comfortable on, you know, a bit higher BPM raw aim with a lot of bursts in between on this map, that might, you know, cause some problems, but we'll see how it goes for these players, because it is Vampella's pick, so I'm hoping some confidence really starts to show now, because they're really needing to get some good scores on the board, because they've had 2 good scores, but they need to get 2 more if they want to bring this to tiebreaker. Both of them seeing about 99% actually to start the map off, which is looking very good for these players. And it seems that both these players have the fundamental aim required to get the basics down for this map. But Vampella finds a very unfortunate under-aim on the back and forth notes, which is going to start leading that lead straight into Nettles' favor, holding on to that 270 combo. Vampella now just going to be playing on the catch-up game, going through the first ki. And the sliders doesn't catch any player out, but the burst drops a bit of accuracy on both sides. But it doesn't seem to cause much of a problem for Nettles right now. Sitting about 400, huge combo. Vampella, you know, just getting, you know, their combo back up. Sitting about 200 now. And these players just don't want to have any issues anymore. I mean, Vampella had their early misses, which actually could work out for them if Nettles does find theirs. But it doesn't seem to be happening anytime soon, as Vampella now starts to catch, you know, not maybe catch back up, but they're starting to get their foot back into the map. You know, getting the hold on the map. Almost finding an unfortunate miss aim, but just saving at last moment. Going into the second ki. 600 combo into the map. Getting about that halfway point. And And this Ki does just show off that raw aim ability with some awkward reading patterns when it comes to the aim. And Vampella over-aims another section, just super unfortunate. And that's not something you want to see when you're on match point. And it just isn't looking good anymore, not when Nettles is holding on to an 800 combo at this point in the map with 99% accuracy. 180 score lead, 190 score lead. 500k for Nettles, 310 for Vampella. The main question now is, can Nettles get a back-to-back FC? Because that's all that's on my mind right now. Not with, no, with how far they're into the map, I don't think there's really a chance for Vampella to start catching up because they didn't have the combo. But Nettles does find a very unfortunate break. If Vampella held onto their combo from before, I think there would have been a much better chance. But that scoreline is so in favor of Nettles now. And I believe this is the last Ki of the map. So that score lead is 200k. Vampella is holding on to combo now, but Nettles is building up as well. And there's practically nothing left of the map as we're getting to this ending. And that, yeah, over 100k score difference. It's so difficult to close this far in. And I feel so bad for Vampella because they've started building that combo now. If Nettles has found a very unfortunate miss any earlier, there would have been such a better chance. But it just didn't happen, and that score lead of 160,000 is just out of reach as Nettles takes home that No Mod 1 and goes to the next round, goes to the round of 16s as they win this match with an excellent S rank again. How many S ranks is that in this match? Because these players are just pulling out some phenomenal scores. And Vampella, I mean, the nerds were there, but they're still putting out good scores across the board as well. A 500k on this No Mod 1. There's another player I'd keep an eye out for that losers bracket because they are going to have another chance to fight for, you know, going to the next rounds because there is a losers bracket in this tournament, thankfully, for these players. As Ideal Nettles does go to the round of 16 winners bracket. And I'm just, again, I'm intrigued to watch these players play. It's been a very fun match to watch and commentate, and good luck to both these players next week. Thanks for everyone who came and watched, and I hope to see all of you next week as well. Or even in the later matches if they're being streamed.